Divine alignment, grand rising, good morning, and all of that good stuff to wherever you are in the world. I am your unfriendly three-headed conjure woman, Mama Noyela, and today we are going to get back into our stages of spiritual awakening this year. So, we left off on stage 4, which was denial and discomfort. So now we are going to dive into the next stage, which is stage 5, disillusionment and spiritual rearrangement of self. Let's get into it. And welcome to stage 5. So, here in stage 5 of disillusionment and spiritual rearrangement of self, this is the stage, of course, after denial and discomfort. Once you start realizing things, now you are going to go through a spell of disappointment or dissatisfaction once you realize that some of your expectations, some of your beliefs, some of your goals, some of your dreams actually may not align up with things in reality. This is where you may have had the mindset of, oh, well, I'm the favorite in the family, or what have you. But now it actually comes out that, no, sweetheart, you weren't the favorite. It was just that a lot of people saw that you needed attention, or they felt that you needed attention. So this is why they always included you, or they may have had a guilt about this, and this is why they invited you. Having that reality check actually does something to people when you come to those realizations of yourself and how you affect other people and how other people also tend to affect you. Another example of disillusionment may be, for instance, your parents. They may have had this good marriage in your eyes. They may have been married for 25 plus years, and then out of the blue, they're divorced. Now you're running around feeling like a child, like, what are my mommy and daddy doing? What do you mean? This isn't possible. They were supposed to be in love. They're supposed to be in love. When actually the truth of the matter was, mommy and daddy actually just stuck together for the kids. I hate when people do that, because that puts a whole another set of guilt onto people that do not deserve that. When a lot of our parents or people say, oh, I stayed in the relationship for the kids. So how do you think it makes those children feel later on in life, when the disillusionment of my mom and dad being together had been happy actually came down to, nah, we ain't really want to be together no more, but we had kids, so we was just like, eh. That's even more burdening and trauma bearing than the actual truth of you guys actually taking the place and space to separate, learn yourselves for yourselves, and start showing that healthy independence, that healthy reliance of self to your children, to let them know, hey, don't stay in places that make you cry. Don't be in places that make you unhappy. Don't do things that put you in a character or jeopardizes your happiness. That is not normal to you. That is not something to you that you do. So instead of us having a lot of healthy parental relationships, it was sort of the other way around. And this begins that whole stage of disillusionment. This is where you also begin to feel lost. You might be feeling out of touch with reality. This is where your ego mind begins to counteract a lot of unfamiliarity, because you did not perceive or see it that way in the beginning. But now that you're seeing it, you're really sort of going through like a culture shock. You're going through a mental and spiritual shock. Your mindset is changing. You're experiencing new things. So it is definitely a huge shock to the mental, the spiritual, and the emotional aspects of self. Now, there are two things I want to warn you about doing during stage 5. There are two things I want to warn you about, okay? So, the first thing I want to warn you about is the extreme isolation. There's one thing to take time for self and still be active, but there's another to become into complete isolation to where it's detrimental to your health. Your vitamins your vitamin levels are starting to drop because you're not getting enough oxygen, you're not getting enough sunshine, you're not moving. You are literally becoming that sadness, that depression because of that loss, that hopelessness, and you questioning self. So that is one thing we want to worry about. Okay, we want to try and avoid at all costs. It's not always possible though, depending on how deeply rooted you are in these situations or in these different stages. The next thing we want to worry about is if you are not becoming extremely isolated, you may actually become hyper vigilant. You want to help everything. You see everything. You feel everything. And as you're learning all of the things and doing the things and going through the things and processing the things and putting this thing with this thing and doing all of that together, you want to help others. This is also where in the spiritual community you saw the outbreak of spiritualists who decided that they wanted to pull cards and help people realign their lives the same way that these things help realign them versus them actually giving them the tools that these people needed to do it themselves. That way it created another codependent bond. We don't do that over here. So again, those are the two things that definitely need to be looked out for during stage 5. Now we're going to sort of switch gears from the disillusionment part of it into the spiritual rearrangement of self. Now, when we come to the point of rearranging our spiritual selves and our spiritual bodies, this is where, again, we have to refocus. And please, 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 if any of you would like help with refocusing your lives, visit one. You can Google her. Her business is called Confident Humility. So what she does is she actually specializes in helping people refocus their energy towards their goals and accomplishments. Her name is Tiffany Matthews. She is the owner, again, of Confident Humility. And again, she does helps with this stage 5 of refocus. So when you are going through stage 5, this is where, again, the things that you are going to need are seeking spiritual reassurance. You're going to be at a point in time of, and also during this time, you may actually look for spiritual guidance, whether it be at the church, whether it be out in the community, whatever the case may be. These are some things that you're going to start looking for now. Again, when you are looking for spiritual reassurance and awareness and emotional support and awareness, please be careful of the people that you allow into your energy, place, and space, because you do have those people that see what is going on with you and they feel like, oh my God, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Why not take advantage of this? And this is where you also begin to see a lot of spiritualists begin to tell you, oh, you have this on you and you have that on you and this is cursed and that is cursed. You do, and you do have the ability to tap into gifts of discernment. You know what is good for you. You know what is not. Hell, I've even ran into clients that were like, I really want to work with you, but it's just something about you. Oh, baby, trust me. I know it's always something about me. And that is okay. I am not for everybody. It is not for you to take that moment of redirection as rejection. That's not what that's for. And that also means that it might not be time for you to experience that right now. It may have to be put on the back burner for y'all to have that meeting right now, just so you can circle back around at a later date and time. Okay? Okay. Another thing that we also need to be aware of is protecting your energy while shedding old habits during this phase. This is where, again, you may want to realign yourself spiritually. You may want to adopt certain practices. You may want to begin healthy eating. You may want to begin yoga. You may want to start doing exercises. You may want to get into more creative things. You may want to start doing hobbies. Whatever you are doing, make sure that you have the strength to replace old habits with healthier new habits. Okay? So, for instance, if you were the person, like a lot of people like to say, you want to crash out all the time, you get angry, you get so overwhelmed, you get so overstimulated, you just want to go do something. Instead of going to put your hands on someone, how about you take that $40 that you spend on marijuana and you actually book yourself a therapeutic session at a rage room or at axe throwing or at a kickboxing class. Do something that is going to redirect that energy, and it will also unblock your root chakra. Your root chakra is where, again, a lot of your instability is going to become very, very stagnant. It's going to get very, very sticky and stuck. So what you want to do is move it in a healthy way. There was a wave at one point in time where a lot of spiritualists were out here talking about, oh, when you are doing this healing and this shadow work, you have to kill the ego, kill the ego. That is not what you do. You do not kill the ego. No matter what happens, you do not kill the ego. Now, what you should do, though, is take aspects of your ego, take time to listen to your ego, see what is actually going on with you. Like, for real, for real. Ask yourself these questions. Is how I'm feeling aligning with what's going on in this moment? Sometimes I may feel a certain way, and how I'm feeling does not equate to what is happening in the moment. So you may have to really step back and realign yourself with some of these things, especially when you're going through these stages of your spiritual awakening. Everybody's spiritual awakening is different. Nobody's journey is the same. So the fact that most people want to sort of wrangle you all together is beyond my heart and soul, because that is not how this works. So that is sort of the breakdown of stage 5 of your spiritual awakening and some of the things that you may experience and go through. And please, please, please do not feel like you have to do this part alone and in isolation. It is always very healthy to have a support group or at least a few friends that understand some of these stages of these spiritual awakenings. So with that being said, namaste everybody. But nah, I'm gonna stay over here. Holla.